So, who is behind the decriminalisation agenda? The answer is very deep pockets. So, all you need to do is follow the money. Ever since the early 1990s, the famed New York billionaire George Soros has funded the drug legalisation movement. In his book, Soros on Soros, released in the year 2000, he wrote these words: "If it were up to me, I would establish a strictly controlled distributor network through which I would make most drugs, excluding the most dangerous ones like crack, that's crack cocaine, legally available." In 2017, Soros donated 18 billion to his own charity to further his pet social agendas: drug legalization, gay marriage, LGBT issues, euthanasia, abortion on demand, essentially anything that militates against Christian notions of the sacredness of life. Remember that the reason drugs have been prohibited all of this time has been their upward spirals of body counts, where the US fentanyl crisis, with 112,000 deaths in a single year, is mute testimony. Soros has been joined by the world's 4,000 richest men and women at the World Economic Forum, where they have joined his crusade against the illegality of illicit drug use. And so, the end goal is the overwhelming of all laws against drug use. Only Soros knows whether he really would still prohibit crack cocaine, but decriminalisation is just an incremental step towards the final goal of drug legalisation, well illustrated by this Soros front organisation called Australia 21, whose documents laud both decriminalisation and legalisation within the very same statement. Let me remind you of the nonsense of their arguments. They say that prohibiting drugs creates a lucrative criminal trade, and therefore it must be wrong to prohibit drugs. Such a simplistically wrong argument can be exposed this way. If you prohibit child sex trafficking, it will do exactly the same thing. But that doesn't make it wrong to prohibit sex trafficking. So this is a nonsense argument. They argue that the so-called war on drugs can never be won, but neither can the war on stealing or rape. It doesn't mean that we should now legalize stealing or rape, but rather that we should police these things to minimize their damage to society. So their end game is legalization, supported by arguments which have absolutely no substance, where decriminalisation is just a drug normalisation measure to get them to that destination. And notice the overwhelming contradictions in their arguments. They piously decry the fact that prohibitions feed the criminal trade, suggesting that they must be done away with for doing such a terrible thing, but they pragmatically use decriminalisation as a waypoint towards their goal, fully knowing that it increases drug use and grows the criminal trade they so deride. These are the hypocrisies of those whose agenda is decriminalisation. In our last episode, we will look at successful alternatives in drug policy that really work.